and welcome back to a new video. Today we are going to have a chat with our daddy who has decided to run an ultra. We didn't know anything about ultras, so we thought we'd ask him a few questions.
What got you into running?
Well, when I was a kid, I was always running around the garden and just loved it. And when I was at secondary school, I did all the cross-country running. I did Race for Life when I was 14 years old, and I just loved it, and I just carried on doing it.
How did you start running?
Well, I didn't do much running as I started becoming an adult. I really got back into it when I was 40. I became very unhealthy, and I felt that I needed to become more active. And I thought running was a good opportunity to do that again because I knew I liked doing it. And so I sort of did a few park runs and joined the running club.
What was your first event?
My first event was Tidworth 10K. So when you two were born and Mummy was in the labour ward, there was a leaflet saying come and run the 10K to raise some money for the hospital. And I thought, oh yeah, I'll do that one day. And when I thought about coming back doing running, that leaflet then came to the surface again. I thought, that's it, I'll do that race. And I raised £400.
Oh. What was your first event?
That was my first event.
Oh yeah. What was your favourite event?
My favourite event, joking. There was two really. One, I was very fortunate enough to go to Boston in America 2 years ago into 2019, and that was just a great experience. 30,000 runners, and it was just amazingly well run, and just to be able to run abroad and do a marathon that length was brilliant. But one of my favourite ones was recently at the Manchester Marathon in October 2021. It was just a great weekend and I thoroughly enjoyed it, and there was lots of club runners there and we had a good time.
What was your worst event?
I wouldn't say I've ever had a worse event. I've had races that haven't gone well. I suppose the only disappointing one I've had was when I did the Dorchester Marathon in 2017. I unfortunately got injured at mile 21, and so I had to walk the last 5 miles.
Now the big question, what is an ultra?
Well, an ultra is any distance that's more than a marathon. So a marathon is 26.2 miles, and any distance that is a race after that is classified as an ultra. So anything from 30 miles all the way up to 5-day, 250-mile events. That is what an ultra is.
How long's the one you're going to be running?
The one I'm running is going to be 50 miles, and it'll be the first time I've ever run 50 miles. I've done 3 30-mile races as classified as an ultras, but it's the first time I've done a 50-mile.
What makes you want to do an ultra?
Well, I've done a lot of races over the last 10 years, and from 5k park runs all the way up to marathons, and I've done several different events. But this is the next step up to do something totally different. So I'm going to see how it goes. If I enjoy it, I'll do more. If I don't, I'll never do one again.
What's the event you're going to do?
The event that I'm planning to do is next week in November 2021, and it's called the Tessway 50, which will be 50 miles, and it starts from North Andover and it runs all the way down to the Tessway River, down all the way down to Totton in Southampton.
What training do you need to do for an ultra, and do you have a plan you need to follow?
Yes, I do have a plan, and I do need to do the training. In terms of the training, you would be looking to do a 20-week plan, which will involve speed work, and it will involve long runs, and it will involve keeping fit and healthy in terms of what you eat, and also a bit of cross training like static bikes and stuff like that. And it's quite a detailed plan, so it'll be quite intense to start with, and then it will more concentrate in the second half, the long runs, and then what's called a 2-week taper, so that I get do less running, and so I'm more fresh for the event. The plan's very particular, and it's important that you follow it, otherwise you will come short on the day.
Okay. What equipment do you need to have on the ultra?
Quite a lot, very different to just normal runs. First of all, you'll need a rucksack or a backpack, and in it you'll have everything you'll need to run for 8 to 10 hours. So there'll be waterproofs in there. There'll be all a first aid kit. There'll be a torch in there. We'll keep all my food and water in here. There is what is called a 2 litre water container for obviously water, and you put hydration tablets in that, and a spare jacket. There's loads of stuff that you'll put in here, because ultimately you have to take everything with you to make sure that you've got everything on the day.
Yeah.
Okay. You also need one of these, a watch, and this Garmin watch here has very good battery life on it, and it will tell me how fast I'm going, my pace, how far I've been, how far I've got to go. It will tell me my heart rate and things like that. I also need a pair of shoes. These are particular trail shoes with lots of grip, very different to your normal road shoes, and they're excellent for slippery, if I have to go over rivers and things like that.
Yeah.
Okay. And also I have to wear a club vest, which obviously, and luckily this one has my name on it, and a bib, which obviously tells me my race number, and obviously it puts contact details on the back, emergency numbers and things like that. It also has a chip bar on the back, so it tells me my time at the end of the event.
Yeah.
So all of that is required.
So that's a lot of stuff you need.
That's correct.
For the
Yeah.
bit. So what food do you need to eat during the race and after and before?
Okay, so before the race, a week before, you'll start to look to eat lots of pasta. Pasta is very good for carbohydrates, which is everything your body needs to run the event. And so you have less veg, more pastas. You can have lots of cheese, malt loaf, raisins, tomatoes and stuff like that. And during the event, you can every sort of 3 or 4 miles, you'll just have little bits of like protein flapjacks or lemon blueberry ones, so whichever flavour you like. You also have what's called gels that helps restore your body of your electrolytes that you've lost. You'll probably have one of them every half an hour. So after 8 hours, you've had rather a lot. And as I said, in your backpack, you have hydration tablets in your water, which helps regenerate your body. And there'll be other things like tomatoes and things like that. So you've got things to nibble at.
Yeah.
Okay. And afterwards, the biggest burger and the amount of ice cream and chocolate and sweets you can possibly eat.
Yeah. What type of weather would you like to have on the ultra?
Ideally, you want as little wind as possible, because that's just always horrible when you have to run into a wind. But whatever, really, as long as it's not too hot or too cold. Ideally, a little bit of light drizzle always goes well, because it keeps you cool. But ultimately, not too hot or not too cold.
Talk us through the day of your ultra run.
Okay, so I'll be looking to get up about 6 o'clock in the morning. And I'll first of all make sure I've had porridge with blueberries and probably a bit of toast with peanut butter on it, a couple of coffees, and drinking lots of water as I'm going through all of that. Make sure I've got everything I need packed up, ready to go, and hopefully Grandad at 6:30 in the morning will come and pick me up and drive us to the event. Event starts about 8 o'clock, so hopefully we'll get there about 7:30. That just gives me a chance to do my final preparations, toilet breaks, make sure I drink more water, and I've listened to the race instructions, because they'll be very specific. And then at 8 o'clock off I set. During the event, my main focus will be staying to the pace that I expect it to be. I don't want to be rushing off too fast or even too slow. During the event, you'll be very conscious that the hills are very steep. You only walk the hills, and if it is a flat bit, I can keep at a nice tempo, or even a bit faster down some of the hills, but it'll be quite hilly, so it's really important to keep the pace. Every 10 miles, so there'll be 4 aid stations that will just make sure that you're checked in, you're checked that you're okay and you're fit and healthy, and if you're not, then they can stop you or you stop yourself. And that's quite nice, and you have water and lots of food there if you run out of your own food, and top up ready for the next 10 miles. And if everything goes according to plan, I'll be looking at getting down into Totton, where the finish line is, around about 5 o'clock, which hopefully I'll see you three there. And when we finish, I'll get my nice medal and T-shirt and a pat on the back, and then we get a free meal, so I'll enjoy that. And we can then hopefully you'll drive me home for a nice hot bath, because that's what you'll need.
How long do you think it will take?
Yeah, that's a good question, because I've never run an ultra, so I don't know. My plan is to take between 8 and 9 hours, which I know sounds quite vague, but I just don't know. I take about 3 hours 15 minutes to do a marathon, and this is twice the length. So logically, you'd think, well, 6.5 hours, but you're doing it over hills, you're doing it with trail shoes, you're doing it over different terrain. It will be a lot longer. So I'd envisage about 8.5 to 9 would be. I'll be very happy if I beat 9 hours.
Do you have any other tips?
Yes, really. A lot of tips, really. The biggest one is find people who've done ultras before. I'm lucky enough I had a friend who I managed to go for some very long runs with, and that person told me all the things you need to know, like walk the hills, what you need to eat during the ultra, and very importantly, stay to pace. Be honest with yourself. If you're not going to finish, do it early. Don't just limp around and think, oh, I'm going to be okay. And also, it's very hard sometimes to motivate yourself over a 16 to 20 week plan to do 5 runs a week, 50 miles in that week. So when you're doing your long runs, try and find people you can run with and enjoy their company as well as your own, because it can be tough. And do not underestimate the training. You know, it is tough, but it's so rewarding, particularly when you're on the start line. Now you've done all the training, you've got all the preparation, you've done all the equipment, you've got all the advice. You've done everything you can, so enjoy the day.
Thank you for telling us everything about your ultra. We're really excited to see how it went.
I hope you lots of luck and that it will go really, really well on the day.
Oh, thank you. And I'm looking forward to your next video when I tell you all about it.
Bye.
Bye.